So I just posted a video where I went over several different alternative launchers for the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and on that video, I had several different people leave comments asking why I didn't talk about Octopi launcher. And to be honest with you, it's because I've tested so many launchers over the years that sometimes it's hard to keep them straight. I thought Octopi launcher, as you can see here, was one that I did try that was really, really difficult to use and was quite unpolished. But now, upon further inspection, no, I am thinking of something else. Octopi Launcher is actually in a pretty good state now, and I think that it is worth mentioning. Should have been in that video, but instead, now it's going to get its own video. And honestly, I think if there is a launcher out there that would pull me away from just using the Pixel launcher, it's going to be this one. And I think a lot of you are going to be really interested by this launcher because it does what a lot of you want to be able to do. And that's have one layout on your cover display and an entirely different layout on your inner screen. Now, getting this launcher is a little bit unconventional because it is still in beta. So I'm going to drop a link down below to this Reddit thread. What you're going to do is click on this link and then join this Google group. Then you should be able to use this link and then go download. It's not even beta. It's set into, like I said, it's an alpha version. So that link, then that link. And once that is done, you can install it. I've done that and I've set mine up, and let's take a look at it. So this is the layout for my inner screen. And as you can see, my dock down at the bottom has a whole bunch of icons. And then up here, we have a whole bunch of icons as well. The grid is understanding this is a larger screen, and therefore we could have a whole lot more apps on there. Now, one thing that I think a lot of you want to know with these sorts of things is if we move a widget, let's long press on this and resize, can it go across that middle line? And the answer is absolutely yes, it can, because this is not two separate pages. It is one page. One other interesting thing about this is when it comes to these icons, you've got a lot of like freedom with where these things are actually going to be placeable. And in fact, you can actually sort of put stuff on top of other stuff, which is kind of strange. Let's put that back where I had it. I will say that placing the icons can be a little bit weird. Like I would think that I would want to put this like there, but actually it's there is where I want it to be, right there. So there's a little bit of weirdness with the grid, but you can get used to that pretty easily. If we jump into our launcher settings, there's actually quite a bit to go over here as well. So you can freely position and resize items so that gets rid of the grid, put stuff wherever you want it. You can hide the status bar. Here's a cool one. So if you have folders, swipe up or down on folders to open them. We'll look at that on the cover display here in just a little bit. You can change how many icons per row, but 9 is where it starts off. That really lets you take advantage of that larger inner screen. There's a dock down there at the bottom, and you can have this little reflective, almost kind of like Mac OS style background on it if you want to go that route. Of course, you can see that I had that turned off. You can change the icon size, the dock position. You can turn the dock off if you don't want to use it. I won't go through all of these, but for the app drawer, there are also quite a few different options for theming. You can, of course, use a third-party icon pack, and something that was a little bit weird for me was that initially, my dock and my app drawer, none of my icons were showing until I went into my settings and I went into apply icon pack, and then I just clicked on default, and then suddenly they all appeared. So maybe a little bit of a bug there. It is an alpha though. In the app drawer, if you click on this little hamburger menu, you can actually change this around too. Like that's kind of cool, actually, having them organized in this sort of grid. Again, taking better use of this larger screen. And then, of course, you know, the animations here coming in and out of an application, everything seems to be just fine other than whatever in the world I'm looking at here. That's very, very creepy, but it's pretty smooth, right? Like no problems at all. And there is like a little haptic buzz when I go home. When that icon kind of does its little bounce, you get a little buzz, and you also get a buzz when it bounces to open up. So that's also a really nice touch. Now, of course, just like with any third-party launcher, if you want to use your taskbar, that is still an option to you. It is still there, and you can grab an application and you can split screen it and do all of that same stuff. But if you want to edit what apps are on this taskbar, you're going to need to do that inside the stock launcher, so keep that in mind. all that being said, let's look at the cover display, and you can see it is a completely different layout. I have folders down here at the bottom, my search down there at the bottom, and widgets. It is only the one single page. Let's go ahead though, and let's jump into my settings, and we will turn on that option to swipe up and down on folders. So how this works now, if I want to open up one of these folders, I do a swipe up and it opens up. Otherwise, if I just click on it, what it's going to do is just open up the first app in that folder. Otherwise, swipe up to get to it, swipe down to close it, I think. That doesn't seem to be working with my, that doesn't seem to be working. So you just click someplace else and it's going to go away. But again, like I said, it is an entirely separate layout. So if you want that, if you feel like cover display use is completely different from inner display use and you want to have your own discrete layout for both of these, this is the easiest way to do that. There was no configuration required. It just is what it is. You use it and you open it up. Hey, there's an entirely new layout. You can see here, I actually disabled the dock because it didn't seem like it was something I would want to use on my cover display. And I really want to drive that home, that it's a completely separate layout. And that even extends to your settings. I changed over to this tiles with background on my inner display, and it's not like that on the cover display. Even the settings are going to be separate. Now for me, that can be good or bad. It means some of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to have to do them twice, right? But if you really do want to have things be completely separate, you're going to get that. There are so many nice features in this launcher. Like let's long press on a widget and click on fade, and it kind of fades it out, grayscales it a little bit. Like that's kind of a cool feature. There's a lot of really thoughtful stuff here that brings kind of, it's not quite the same as like what Samsung has with their launcher, but it's really, really close. And in some ways, I might actually like this better than what Samsung is doing. I like that you have the ability to customize your gestures as well. By default, a swipe down brings in your notifications, but as you can see, you can have it set to several different things. Do nothing, open search, and that actually just lets you quickly search through your applications to quickly launch an application. You can have it turn off the screen. If we go back in again, you can actually change the double tap as well. By default, double tapping is going to turn off that screen, which looks like you need to enable an accessibility service to do that, but it is an option. And yeah, again, there's just a ton of really nice features. So for everyone that commented, Octopi Launcher, Joe, Huffmaster, anybody else that happened to potentially say it, you were right. This is, for my money so far, the best third-party launcher for a foldable device. Niagara is very, very good. That maybe would have been my pick before this, but it's a little bit too limited. This has none of those limitations. It truly does feel like a more traditional, fully featured launcher with a ton of different options. And for the people that want it, you finally do get those two separate layouts. So much appreciated for the suggestion in those comments. And like I said, I will be putting a link to this Reddit post for you to get access to this into the description down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.